Newnan chapter DAR daughters. Today, our flag chair, Miss Pat McBurnett, asked me if I would do a quick video or demonstration on how I made the stars that she wants us to create for her to use this coming fall and next year when it is the anniversary of the American flag. And she wanted stars, and she wanted them red, white, and blue. So I came up with two different patterns. She picked this one because it's a little bit larger. She wanted it the size of her hand. Well, you know, that's a little pretty tiny hand right there. So we went with this particular pattern. Now I've written the pattern out. However, some people find it easier to do a project if they have some sort of visual. So I have the written instructions, and I will post those in the description below. And I'm going to try to kind of follow them as I go right now, just so I make sure I have everything written down for you. So what I suggest is making the stars out of cotton. Cotton can then be starched if necessary to make them be really stiff. If you use something like 24/7 Lion brand cotton, it is a woven cotton. It's the same as Yarn Bee from Hobby Lobby. The one from Hobby Lobby is a little bit softer, so it might need starching, but they work up about the same size. The 24/7 cotton is woven. It's not like spun cotton, which is what this is. This is twisted. This is the I Heart cotton from Hobby Lobby. I'm going to use that to demonstrate today just because it's bigger, and I'm going to use a bigger hook so you can see better. But this is what I recommend, is this size. It's a 4-weight, which is medium, even though it's much skinnier than this, which is a 4-weight. And with this particular cotton, I use a 4mm hook on either one of these, or this is the same. This is the Yarn brand, Lion brand yarn, 24/7 cotton woven, and it comes in navy. This is red. It's bright red, I know, but it does match the flag. And then white. She wanted white, not off-white. So you can use any of these. If you want to use something like cotton and cream, or whatever it's called, cotton candy, whatever that they sell at other stores that's cotton, you can use that if you want to. It's completely up to you, whatever you're comfortable using. This is just what I recommend. I think this is what looks best. It's what comes out to this gauge. So what I'm going to do tonight, though, is to demonstrate it with this larger looking. It says it's the same size, but it's not. But it's easier to see. It's got a color to it. I'm going to use a larger hook, but the process is still the same regardless of which one you're using. So this is the one we're going to make right here. And I'm going to use this particular yarn. Now, my instructions say use 4mm hook and 24/7 cotton yarn. That's what's in the instructions. So we'll say that that's what we're doing, even though we are using something different. So I'm going to throw this over here in the corner out of my way. Now, the way the process starts is with a magic ring. This is a magic ring in the middle. If you're not familiar with how to use magic ring, if you've made enough granny squares, you probably know that by heart. But if you do not know how to do magic ring, you can watch me closely do it now, or you can go out, and there are literally dozens and dozens and dozens of demonstrations on how to use magic ring. So that's how we're going to start the process. And then in the magic ring, we're going to create 3 double crochets and 2 chains. So it's 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, chain 2, around 5 times. To start off in the magic ring, we're going to start off with a slipped stitch like this. That just holds your ring together. Now, I'm going to chain 2, and that slip stitch and these 2 chains make our first double crochet. And if you've done a lot of granny squares, you know that's how most of them always start. So now I'm going to make 2 more double crochets. So a double crochet, if you're not familiar with your stitches, you can go back and look them up online and practice them. A double crochet is yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, that's yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So there's our first cluster. I'm going to call these clusters. And then we're going to chain 2. And then we're going to do 3 more double crochets. Insert the hook, pull up a loop, pull through, yarn over, insert the hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through, and one more time, yarn over, insert the hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 2. Okay, that's our second cluster. So we want to do that 3 more times so that we have 5 clusters and 5 chain 2 spaces. So yarn over, insert hook. Chain 2. Keep your loop snug as you can so it doesn't get unruly. Chain 2. One more cluster. Yarn over, insert hook, pull up a loop, pull through 2, yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, pull through 2, 2 chains. Okay, there's our clusters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and each one has a chain 2, chain 2, chain 2, chain 2, chain 2, chain 2. Now, we need to join our circle. So we're going to slip stitch right here in the top of this chain. This was our starting chain 3 that served as our first double crochet. I'm going to insert my hook right there, and I'm just going to slip stitch. A slip stitch is insert hook, pull up the loop, and pull it through all rings on the hook. So now our ring is closed. I'm going to pull that up with a little slack, turn it over. This is our tail that's on the back of our magic ring. So we want to hold our stitches with our left hand, and we want to keep pulling this loop until that hole is closed up. And usually if you've wrapped it around your finger, it'll kind of make a little popping sound or popping feel when you close it all the way tightly. Now, don't worry about that tail right now. We'll weave that in later. So we're going to pull this again down. All right, now we need to work in this hole right here, this first chain 2 space we made over here. So we've got to get over there to it. So to get over there to it, we're actually going to slip stitch until we get there. So this is the first stitch right here that we need to slip into. So I'm going to pick up that loop and get it back up here where it belongs, and stick my hook in there. And slip stitching, again, is just inserting your hook, yarning over, and pull it through all the loops on the hook. Again, slip and slip. There we are. So now I'm almost there. I got to get to the top of this one. So this one is the hardest one to get into because it's a little tight little hole. But if you can get your hook under these 2 little loops, just like so, get it in there and slip stitch in that. Then we're at the top of our opening. So now we want to work all of our stitches in these loops where we have these chain 2 spaces. All these chain 2 spaces are going to get stitches put in them. And the stitches they're going to get put in, the sequence is 3 double crochets, 3 chains, 3 double crochets. So in order to start this first process, we're going to insert our hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, make a single, and then put 2 chains on top of that. That will serve as our first double crochet in this space. Now we're going to do that. Do 2 more double crochets. Just like that. And then we're going to do 3 chains. So that's a cluster, 3 chains, and then another cluster, all in that one opening. So just take your time, make your 3 double crochets, and your chain 3, all in that space, just like that, nice and even. Okay, once you've gotten those made, then you're going to move to the next opening and repeat the process. You don't have to do the chain 3 like we did here at the beginning, because we already have our yarn on our hook. So we're just going to yarn over and do a 3 double crochet cluster. That's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There we go. So there's our second point, closed up and done. I'm going to move to the next one. A 3 double crochet cluster, chain 3, and another cluster. So we're going to repeat that here, here, and here, and I'll meet you back when we get to that point. Okay, I've made my last cluster, and I'm back over here to the beginning where I started with my first chain 3 and 2 double crochets to make a cluster all the way around to all 5 points. Now I'm back to where I started. So now I need to join this end to this end just like these are joined here. So I'm going to go over to the top of this chain 3, insert my hook front to back, pull up a loop and pull it all the way through. Now, this is what we have now. So this is our center part. Now we need to make our points out on top of these spaces that we created with the chain 3. So there's our 5 points, and here's our starting place. So again, because we want to start here with our stitches, and these are going to be our dips, this time we don't have to walk ourselves up to that corner, because this is going to be the joining area at the end anyway. So all we need to do is into this spot, this chain 3 spot, we're going to create a triple, it'll start off with 1/2 double crochet, a double crochet, a double crochet, a treble crochet, another chain 3, a treble, a double, and a 1/2 double. So that's what goes into this spot. Starts with a 1/2 double. If you don't know what a 1/2 double crochet is, you'll need to go out and study that stitch and come back. But the first stitch is half double, then 2 doubles, then 1 treble, then we're going to chain 3, and then we're going to put in another treble, another 2 doubles, and a half double. That's all going to go in this one spot with a chain 3 between those stitches. So I'm going to start off with a half double. A half double crochet is yarn over, insert hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. Now I crochet very tight, so mine may look a little different than yours. I hold the yarn very tightly. I've always done it that way. It's probably not the correct way to actually even hold the yarn, but I taught myself when I was in the 5th grade. My mother did not crochet. I had no one to teach me. I learned it from my book in the library. So yarn for double crochet, we're going to yarn over, insert our hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, another double, yarn over, insert our hook, pull up a loop through the 2, through the 2. Okay, so that's our half, our double. Now we're going to do a treble. Now I do my trebles different than an American treble. I do them like a European treble or a German treble, which I yarn over, insert my hook, pull up a loop, pull through 1, pull through 2, pull through 3. Now that if you look in an American crochet book or online for a treble stitch, that's not how they're going to show you how to do it. That's just the way I do it. You can do it however you like. I'm going to chain 3, create another treble, pull through 1, pull through 2, pull through 3. I like the way that I learned it myself is because it looks more even. It's not just twisted thread. It actually looks a little bit neater and more like a real stitch. Okay, there's a double, and a half double. Okay, so that completes our point on this particular side right here. So there's our chain 3 space, nice and pointy. We got our graduated stitches to make it go up and spread out like a point. Now, we need to get from here to here. So we're going to make a single crochet in this hole, not in that stitch, in this hole, which will pull it down and make it a sharper indentation. So we're going to tighten our thread, and we're going to make a single crochet in this spot, just like that, nice and tight. Make it really, really tight down in there. Pull it down snug. So there we go. Now we're ready to do the same thing in this hole that we did in this hole. We're going to do a half double crochet. Just like that. Then we're going to do 2 doubles. We're going to do a treble. Three chains. A treble. A half double. A double. Another double and a half double. Pull that down, last one snug. See if we got our little point, looks good. We're going to go to the dip between here, and we're going to do a single crochet, very snug, very, very snug, so that it holds it, pulls it all down nice and tight. So now we got our stitches here, and it's looking more like a star. When we do our border all the way around, it'll tighten all of those up and make them look tighter. All right, so I'll put my stitch back on my hook and continue. So we're going to continue around here with our half double, 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 treble, chain 3, treble, double, double, half. And then a single crochet into the ditches here and here until we get right around to this one, and I'll meet you back. Okay, I got a double crochet, my last half double, and my last single in the ditch. Just like that. Let's pull that up, take a look. Okay, and that's going to be nice and snug when we pull that down. Now this is where you can either continue around and outline it in the same color that you crocheted in, or you can add a separate color to outline it in. I'm going to show you how to do it with a separate color. So I've pulled up, this is where I've ended. I'm going to pull that out, and that'll get woven in. So I'm going to come around here and start in a different place. And I'm going to start, so this is the dip. This is where we made the dip. So each one of our points should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stitches. And then you got the stitch before and the stitch after. So where I'm going to start with my contrasting color is I'm going to start it right here at one of the before spots. And I'm just going to attach my yarn with a single crochet. I'll go back and this is another thing, of course I'm self-taught, so it's probably not the correct way, but I go back and I tie that like that just to hold it in place until I come back around. Now, got my tail. Now I'm going to go into the next stitch and just make a single crochet. Next stitch, single, and next stitch, single. So that's 4 stitches I've made up the side. Now, in the instructions, it says single crochet all the way around. In the space, you single crochet, chain 3, single crochet. Now that's if you actually are going to make a stitch here and a stitch here in the top of these 2 double crochets, which are kind of hard to make, but they can be made that way. If you don't want to bother making that into this spot, which is kind of hard to get your needle in on one side, you can actually just make them in the hole. So that would give you, in the space, you'd be doing 2 singles, a chain 3, 2 singles, and then continuing with 4 stitches. I'm going to try to make one in the top of this stitch. When you're using the smaller yarn and the smaller hook, it might be a little difficult, so you might want to just do the stitches all in the hole or space, whatever you want to call that. Okay, so there's the 1. Then I've got to do 2 in this thing with a chain. So, well, excuse me, I don't need to do a double. Okay, there's 1. And now I'm supposed to make a chain. So let's see how that's going to look on this. This is going to be all in your personal preference of what do you want it to look like. If you don't like that look, you can add more chains. It just depends on the yarn you're using and what it needs to look like. So I'm going to pull that up, stop, and look. So yeah, see, it needs a little something there. So my guess is it'll just take more chains. So I've put one single in there. I'm going to do another single. Oops, quit doing a double. I'm going to do another single. And then maybe just 2 chains and another single. That's going to just be personal preference. You're going to have to just see what you think what looks good. So I did 2 and 2 chains, so I need to do 2 over on this side. Plus 1, 2, 3, 4. It's all going to depend on how you crochet your tension and your size of your yarn. Okay, I think that looks good. It looks filled in. So just make it where you think it looks filled in enough and that your point is sharp enough. So on this particular sample here, using this other yarn, I actually did one in the stitch, one in the opening, chain two, one in the opening, one in the stitch. But that's just because it is just a different kind of yarn. It just covers differently. So it's just going to be up to what you want the look to be. And this one has a chain two in it, so it makes a nice little point. But that's just, work with it with your yarn that you're using, your hook, the way your tension is, and see what you think looks the best. So that was our 4 stitches there. Now we're back to where the dip is. So what we want to do in the dip is we want to put our hook in and pull up a loop. And then we're going to put our hook into the next stitch and pull up a loop and pull it through all 3 loops. And that just gets that down in that ditch, because you want to pull that in all tightly, just using slip stitches instead of actual stitches. Go back and do that again. So there's my slip stitch, another slip stitch. There we go. So that's in our ditch, takes care of that. Now I've got the 4 stitches here. These are singles. 1, 2, 3, and then one on the top of that stitch. It's 4, and then 2 in the hole, chain 2, 2 in the hole, then 1 in the top of that stitch. That's 1, 2, 3, oops, 3, 4, and then a slip stitch, and then a single crochet, single crochet, single, 1 in the top of the stitch, right? So it's so hard to get into that stitch right there. 1, and then 2 in the hole, 2 chains, 2 in the hole, 1 in the top, 2, 3, 4, a slip, and then a single. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then continue around. Quit doing a double. So we're back to our beginning. So I'm just going to slip this stitch and then slip into the same one that I did before just to make the join. And I'm doing that with a single crochet just so that it covers up that join. So there we go. Pull that all through. Clip off your ends and hide them. And if you're not familiar with how to do that either, there's plenty of tutorials on there. This is not going to be a garment, so it's really not imperative that everything be tied and tucked and hidden, because it's going to be something that's just displayed as an ornament. So these ends can get woven into here, into some of these double crochets. Your magic ring end can just get fished back through there with a needle. And here you can just tie these off. And if you want to, just tie them off and have a nice, what I call a pretty visual knot, which is one that is tied as a square knot that won't come undone. And then you just cut your ends off where you can't see them. So I'm just going to whip mine back underneath this stitch right here, this end. Now, if we were making this, you know, send over to the princess in England, it might be different. But since this is just something for an ornament for an American Christmas tree, we're just going to make sure we have our ends secured, and they don't have to be prettily hidden unless you're a perfectionist and you really want to make sure they get hidden. Because if you can tie them off with the correct kind of weaver's knot, you can snip those ends off and it's never going to come undone anyway. Okay, going to block out your points. And what I suggest to block these, because you'll be using cotton yarn, is you can just take your steam iron, and if you have a placemat, or if you have a piece of rubber mat, or your ironing board cover, if it's spongy and squishy. If you're a quilter, you know how to do all those kind of things. If you want to actually make you a blocking board, you can take a cutting board and cover it with a placemat like this, or something that won't melt. And just take your pins and stick a pin in the chain, not in the stitch, but in the hole that the chain 2 space made right there, and pull out the points. You can steam them and then put just a little spray starch on them. Just spray it lightly, don't saturate it, and press them again. And I would suggest always pressing from the back. That way you don't flatten your stitches, so that it doesn't take away from the look of the crochet, because you can flatten out your stitches so much that it doesn't look good. So do it from the back where you can't see, and pull all those points out, press it down. I usually just take my steam iron and just sit it on it for a second or two, let it steam it, and then I'll spray some starch on it, steam it again, and then lay them and let them cool, and put them under a stack of books or something heavy, and or under another, put them the cutting board on top of them, let them sit for a couple of days, and they're good to go. And we're going to put them on little silver hooks. And I hope you understood the instructions. If you have any questions, please just call me. You have my phone number. If you're in the chapter, you know what my phone number is. Call me and I'll see if I can help you. If you want to get together and have a sit around and crochet and ask questions, we can do that too. And when we do that, we can also just have a glass of wine while we're doing it. So happy crafting, and God bless America.